So here's a quick introduction to brushes on the iPad. As you can see at the bottom of my iPad apps here, you can see there's two brushes. The blue one is Brushes 3, the third version, and the red one, which I'm going to show you just very briefly now, is the first version. And the first version is very basic and very simple and extremely easy to pick up. The third one takes a lot more twiddling. There's lots and lots of choices of brushes, playing about with the spacing and the sizing, and actually it's quite complex. So perhaps it's good to start with the first one. So when you touch the screen, you go back to the gallery. Any images that you've tried out will be there in front of you. And this is a rather large one that I tried out for my ADE application video. Took me several hours to produce, and it will whiz through it in a very short time when you press this little button, a little play button at the bottom here. And the beauty of brushes is that it will play back every single brush stroke or mark that you put on it. And what I did with this, I transferred this little movie, converted it on the Mac, and then slowed it down so that I could use that as part of my video application. And so as you can see on this, it's quite complex. I literally started with the center point here, zoomed in very, very high, so I could get the details. It does pixelate when you go closer on this first brushes one, but it didn't matter because as soon as I zoomed back, it looked quite nice and sharp. And so down to each of the little app, you can see I've drawn each little app symbol, the little logos. I could get quite a fine level of detail by doing that, and that's really what I wanted to use the brushes app for, to create a kind of a moving mind map. It's not the only thing you can do. You can certainly annotate. You can write on things, whatever you want to do with it really, or you can use it in its traditional sense as a painting. So I just wanted to show you very quickly how you use it. So at the bottom here you can see there's a brushes symbol, and then some colour choices at the side here, and really that's probably about all you need to start. If you hold down the brush, then you can start to draw directly onto the screen here. I'm using a stylus because I can get a much finer detail. And then if you really want to go very, very close, you can just touch the screen and zoom in as close as you want, and this is when it starts to pixelate. So when you draw or you write, you'll find it will pixelate. So it's quite nice to get some detail to your work if you want to. So now if I zoom back, it looks quite sharp, and it's quite small on the whole of the page here. So if I wanted to use this as a kind of a mind mapping diagram, might change to a different colour, and then maybe put an arrow here, check how big it is. If I wanted to go a little bit bigger, change the colour again, change the brush size, even the brush effects here if I wanted. I like sticking just to the normal one. I can make the brush size a bit bigger. Again, change back to black perhaps, and then I can draw another, that's a bit too big, a really big arrow there. Zoom back, still looks pretty awful and pretty big, but you can see pretty much how it will work. I really like working at probably the smallest size possible, just so that I can get a nice fine level of detail. So whatever it is I wanted to use, whatever I wanted to capture, I certainly use this zooming in feature quite regularly. And then as you go back to the gallery format, it's going to go very, very fast, but it'll track through all the brush marks. So there it is, a very simple, quick way to create a mind map or some kind of diagram that tracks